kind of vibe when we was in transients, and consequently we just didn't do that many gigs. That's all, because there was no call for it, because somebody else.
What was the call at that time when you were doing that? What were people into? You know, that said you were not, you know.
People were into, I suppose they would have been into like the World Central Line.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you remember those guys, we weren't recording tracks and putting them out because we were just young, Lenny. Do you know what I mean? We were like young and just coming through.
You know, it's also the Sly and Robbie sound was really going towards me. No,
dude,
and people want to get
I've seen you do. The phone has never ever rung. It must be a busy one.
I don't know why it's ringing. It shouldn't be ringing, for F's sake. But anyway,
don't swear.
Interrupting my important interview. Gosh darn it. Anyway, as I was saying, Sly and Robbie, from Jamaica, were having a big impact.
Yes.
You know, with dance music and that's that ragga sound with dance influence and synthesizers, and
that's right.
You know, you have a few different types of
they came in
coming together, you know.
Well, they came in with that again, you know, they explored that whole disco scene with Gwen Guthrie, right?
Big time. Oh my God.
Big time, which was like amazing. You know, you'd listen to Gwen Guthrie, you'd go, great track. Should have been you. And all that. Ain't nothing going on. But you go, and then you look at the production credits, you go, Sly and Robbie.
Yeah. What? Huh?
What? How? Who? What?
Reggae guys. What? They're doing this?
Those guys have gone clear. My goodness, they've gone clear. They've gone from reggae, proper, in Jamaica, to go just doing just the great disco soul vibe, which is amazing. And they did it really well. They did it exceptionally well. And also the success with Grace Jones. Let's not forget Grace Jones, that because they did the whole
bumper, I know.
Yeah, they did all that as well, which is great. So they were really great musicians, and they kind of explored that whole scene as well, you know. But we were, like I said, we were young. We, you know, what did we know about? We tried to get signed to an agency. No hope. That was dead loss.
Can you explain that to someone that is talking about agents now?
Okay, so what did an
agent do for you then, and what would they say to someone like you guys?
So an agent back in the day would have been someone that came to see you play, either at your rehearsal or come to a gig. And if they thought you were good enough, they'd sign you up and get you gigs. Which just means you ain't got to do all the donkey work trying to find gigs, essentially. You know, trying to force people to put you on their gigs and stuff like that. You know, they would be like the middle person. They'd just go out and find you gigs, whether it be in a pub or supporting a major act, or
right.
You know what I mean? Playing in a wine bar, or playing at a private party, even, you know, anything like that. You know, that's what they would do. That's what they would do. And because the music that we did was quite specific, it was hard for them to market us, essentially.
They couldn't find a place for you, right?
No, because, you know, what you're going to hear, you go and listen to jazz funk, which is like, which had some kind of complicated bits in it, at a wedding. No, it's not going to work. You know, it's just not going to work.
And then the club scene was playing dance music, kind of like electro at that time, and a mixture of American stuff with the English, British, you know, the more British funk. Funk. So if you're not in that
scene
lane, that's a problem.
It's a problem. Yeah, exactly. So we, you know, obviously it consequently didn't quite work out. And so we disbanded, to be honest. We just disbanded because it wasn't quite working. And, you know, and like you mentioned earlier, some people went and got regular jobs. Some people carried on the music, you know, all that kind of stuff. But what kind of devotion, or should I say sacrifice, does it take to see the light at the end of the tunnel,
to stay with something like this. This is what people understand. They always see the gold medal at the end. They don't know what it took to get the gold. You know what I'm saying? They don't get that part. That part's the ugly part. I call it the ugly sisters time. It's like, you don't want to know me during that time. That's not the time you really want to know me.
So the grafting part.
In such a nice way, yeah. The grafting part, working to get to the end goal. Correct.
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you, Lenny. In my mind, all I wanted to be was a drummer. That's all I ever wanted to be, just a drummer.
Eat, beat, breathe, repeat, drumming.
Drums. That was it. Drums. And to the point, obviously, when I started working, albeit Marks and Spencer's, that was my first ever job. I'd always get a job where I started early in the morning and finished by, say, 2:00 latest. I wouldn't go past 1:00. To work till 2:00 would be overtime for me at any place. So I'd start at 6 or 5, and then I'd work until 1:00, and then I'd go home.
1:00 in the afternoon.
1:00 in the afternoon. Yeah. 1:00 in the afternoon. And then I'd go home and I'd practice. And that would be my day. And for many, many years, I did that. Whatever, and I must have went through about 3 jobs. Always starting early doors. Always. And that was a sacrifice that I made, basically. And there was one job I did, only one job that I ever did where I didn't do, where I kind of had to work a full day. And that was when I was working for an old school electrical company called Rumbelows, who did like TVs, fridge freezers, like electrical outlet store. And I'd worked in the delivery department, delivering washing machines, fridge freezers, TVs, all that kind of stuff. And I'd start at 7:30, but not finish till 5. And I did that for about a year and a half. I thought, sod this for a game of soldiers. I can't do my drumming. I can't do anything. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm stopping. So I stopped and left.
Did you get luckily the 2 weeks notice, or you just said, I'm out?
I gave my notice. I gave my notice. I had to work for a month, which was the longest month ever. That was the longest month. I was just like, can I just leave this place? It's drive me up the wall. So, eventually I left. And so then, of course, that gave me time to practice full time whilst I was looking for other work,
Right.
So I practiced a bit, but then also what I was doing was putting my name out there more to say that I was more available to do sessions. See?
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So I used my time productively, so to speak. You know what I mean? Calling my mates up. Any jobs, sessions, let me know, that kind of thing. So, and I did that for a while, but also a good way to get, it's also a good way for me to get to practice the chops and get my hi-hat and groove work up and running and everything, and see now, when did I join Candyland? So we're talking like maybe late 80s now, late 80s. I got another job at Marks and Spencer's eventually, early mornings, starting at 6, finishing at 1. Brilliant. You can't make it up. It was fantastic. I loved it. And I'd come home, I'd practice. And my friend worked at a rehearsal studio and he called me up. He says, "Oh, Derrick, this band, they need a drummer. Come along for the audition." Because he told him that, that
I got a friend.
I got a friend.
Shit. You need to hear him. He's gonna whack it out for you. Yo, dude, you gotta get down here now. They want to hear you now. You'd have no cell phone back then, right?
No. It was like answering machine at home.
Wait. You couldn't even find a red telephone box, no less than a fax machine. You hadn't even had a fax machine at home yet.
No fax machine. I think we had an answering machine. So I picked up the message in an answering.
Beep. I'm not here.
Yeah, something like that.
So who's this band you're going to go and try out for?
So this band is called, they're called Candyland.
Candy.
Which is like a...
Everybody write that down. Candyland, everybody.
Candyland, yeah. With myself, Deed Osmond, Felix, David Ayres, and Colin Payne. There was like a 4 or 5 piece band. And the music was like indie dance. Essentially, it was indie dance. That's what it was.
It had more like a rock edge?
Yeah, it was kind of based on like the Pixies, The Cure, that kind of vibe, but with dance beats.
Okay.
Yeah, but with dance beats behind it. So, I did the auditions for that band at a place called Terminal Studios down in London Bridge, which was a massive complex. It's like more room than, I don't know. It was just like a really big, massive place with all these big studios in, but it was great, I just went in there and then just did the audition, and, got the job and just started playing with that band. And, we did an album, and go back a bit. We got signed. So we did the gigs. That's it. We started doing gigs. Now, these guys, they really grafted. They actually went out there, found gigs, knew a couple of people in the industry. Like back then, we had a magazine called Melody Maker. Don't know if you know it.
Oh, I remember. I think I remember.
Melody Maker, like old school. We're going back now, like a newspaper. Melody Maker, old school, and
musicians and stuff. The one ads in the back.
Yeah. Audition. Drummer needed, bassist needed, all that kind of stuff.
Paid with food and water.
Yeah. It was so they'd actually contact the people of like Melody Maker, people at record companies. They'd like to send demos off to record companies, like loads of them. Do you know what I mean? Demos that were made from our rehearsal. They just send them off. And we actually got some interest from those tapes, and we started doing a residency in southeast London. Can't remember the name of the place now. It's a good pub though. We'd play there every Friday night. Every Friday night we'd play there, and it was a great gig, really good gig, because we'd rehearse in the week, go and do that gig on a Friday, then go back to rehearsing in the week, because I'll be working 6 till 1, and then there'll be rehearsals in the afternoon, 2 till 6 or whatever. Then on a Friday we'd go and gig. So it was great. Kind of all fell into place. It was actually quite nice.
And that went on for how long?
That went on for quite a few years, because we did the album with a guy called, a producer called Phil Chill?
No, I don't know Phil.
I tell you what album he did. He did the Massive Attack album.
Oh yeah, I remember that album.
Do you know the first album? So he produced that album, did all the programming and stuff, all that. So
serious kit. So he had a serious kit. He knew what he was doing.
He was a proper cat, as we say. He was a serious producer, knew all his stuff. Worked with a guy called Jeremy Allen, who mixed that Safe From Harm. Phil did that Safe From Harm album. So all those famous tracks, Phil did all that programming and stuff. And then Jeremy Allen did all the mixing. And it was, we were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is really, really good. Did the album. It did okay. I can't complain. It did okay. And we managed to get a 6-week American tour out of it, actually. We managed to get a 6-week American tour.
Wow, good for you.
Supporting a band called, oh gosh. Oh, I can't remember the name of the band, to be honest. But they were like 9 Inch Nails, basically. That kind of. You
came to tour America?
So I toured America, like kind of.
Tell us the story. So did you go on the boat to come to America?
No. There were things called planes at that point there, Lenny.
You didn't come over to stay at Johnstown with the Mayflower. You came over with the train, with the plane.
We came over in a black cab.
Black cab.
So we came over, and
So wait, before I even take you any further, the thought of coming to America, did you feel like, oh my God, we made it now?
A little bit, actually.
Yeah, because I want to know about that.
Really excited. We're really
I bet you
excited.
were, because I saw the movie of what's the name of the band? Freddie Mercury.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he's the first time he gets called to come to America, you could see the excitement in their faces, the glee of like, we made it. We're in America. Like, yes, we're touring. So tell us the story about that.
Oh, that was great. Do you know what? What an experience that was. That was a really good experience. So obviously, we were support band. We weren't the main band. So we were support band. Whatever funds we made, we used it to finance getting over there. And then we'd have to hire. Oh, in fact, what we did was we shared the transportation, like the logistics with the band, with the main band. So we'd hire drum kits. It's not drum kits, drum kit. So we had a drum kit. Was I sponsored by then? I'm trying to think. Was I sponsored? No, I wasn't sponsored by then. So we'd hire a drum kit. We'd get the amps. The guys came with their guitars and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And then we'd just get on this. We'd had a van, one of those, an SUV. That's what you call it. And what you call an SUV, right? So we had an SUV, which we hired, which we drove ourselves around America in. And we drove around America in an SUV for hours on end, from city to city to city. Yeah, like that.
So how does that work? How does that work? This is America today, because everybody's happy about the presidential election. No, go away.
Yeah, you need to turn that buzzer off.
Trying to. You know what happens is the Apple phones, everyone, we love Apple. Here's the problem. When you have a Mac and you have a phone and you have a laptop, everything is, you put your Google name in and everything syncs up. So you're hitting the X on the phone and it's still coming up. So anyway, you're driving around the United States of America?
So we're doing like New York, we're doing LA, we're doing Richmond.
You're driving through the whole United States?
Yep. We're Coloradoing, we're Denver, we're just everywhere. We're everywhere.
First of all, hang on. As an Englishman, brought up in the English system,
in New York,
Caribbean background, what's the culture shock like for you going to America at that time?
The culture shock. Do you know what? We loved it. To be honest, we loved being in America. We just loved it, because the culture was great. The music was there, and we were just big time music people anyway. We'd go out and record shop. San Francisco, we did. Do you know what I mean? We had days off in San Francisco, which is amazing. Culture shock? Not really. Not much of a culture shock, to be honest. Very similar to England. Very similar to London, to be honest. Just on a very much bigger scale in everything. From buildings to food.
No, nobody understands that in England. They're like, they come to America, they think New York City is America. It's like, that's not America. That's just one piece. That's a small part of America.
We did Dallas as well. So it was really good. It was a really good experience for us. Really good experience. We did, so we did the 6 weeks playing at these clubs, which capacities were anything from 200 to like 500, so, and it was good. It was great. It was really good fun. We did, and then I think Chicago, we were driving from, oh my gosh, where were we driving from? We were driving from LA, was it Miami to Chicago? I think Miami to Chicago. I think we were driving.
That's a long trip too.
Yeah, it's a very long trip on road. Very long trip. And this one, so we're heading towards the last gig now. We're heading towards the last gig. This is the story here. So we're driving along. It's the night time. Driving along. It's winter. So driving along. I'm driving the SUV. Music's playing. Everybody's sleeping in the back. And all of a sudden, I hit black ice. damn. I'm like going, oh no. And the car starts doing this. Sorry.
Right, swerving.
Doing this.
Oh my God.
And then I'm in this SUV. And of course, you know, when you turn it a little bit, it kind of takes a bit of time to react. So I'm like turning
like a boat. It's like a boat. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm turning it. It's swinging to the left, and I'm turning it to the right, but it's still going left. And I'm like going, oh my gosh, this is not good. And I can just see this whole thing unfolding, this whole scene unfolding. So I'm now going. Now it gets to the point where I know I'm actually going to lose control. So what happens is the SUV then goes down into like a ditch, goes into like a little small ditch and rolls. Everybody's in the back sleeping. Luckily, they've all got their seatbelts on. We've rolled 7 times, Lenny. We've rolled like 7 times.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, he was worried about what he was going to share with us. I've been waiting for the juicy part to come. This is about as juicy. You're driving in America on your way from Miami. Let's recap this real quick. Miami to Chicago. You hit black ice.
Yeah, black ice.
How fast were you going in this SUV?
I don't know, 60.
Right, you're doing the average speed limit.
Yeah, it's average speed. I wasn't doing like.
And then you hit black ice, the car starts to swerve, and then you drop into a ravine. And I'm assuming from the angle of the ravine, it goes right over.
Around and keeps on rolling, basically. Keeps on rolling.
So
we're like now, oh my goodness, because we've got a tour manager as well.
Oh my goodness, you're probably like, oh Christ Almighty, we almost died.
Everybody.
Oh my goodness, you ain't seen. You're probably sitting like this. Look at the truck going. I don't believe we're alive right now.
I didn't want to over dramatize it, but I have already.
Anyway. It's True House Stories. This is not BBC.
It's not oh my goodness territory.
This is True House Story. You must dramatize for ratings here.
so we ended up basically our tour manager who was with us ended up obviously calling 911.
Now there was no funny stuff in the car, right? No smell of hashish.
No.
You're driving. You're fine. But what time of night was this?
Gosh, this is like maybe 2 a.m. or something.
That's what. Did you happen to be? Were you fully awake, aware, or were you kind of like?
No, I was fully awake.
Tired, you know. Sometimes we drive tired. You lose a little bit.
No, wasn't tired. It just was just pure black ice.
Wow.
Pure black ice. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's tough.
I actually had to take over driving because our tour manager who was driving was tired, so I took over driving from him, basically, so he could have a rest and then he would carry on the rest of the journey. You know, consequently.
So now the car's been rolled over 7 times, and the tour manager is looking.
He's a bit injured. His shoulders hurting. That, and the other. Do you know what I mean? We've had to call the ambulance. We've got taken to a hospital. We've all been checked out. Everybody's fine. Just the tour manager's injured. That's it. Really, everybody else was fine. And
we can go on. The band can play.
The band could go on. And the. So the band who we were actually playing with, the main band, they actually turned their bus around and came and picked us up from the hospital. The driver turned his bus around and came back to where we were.
The main band from 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah, the band that was similar to 9 Inch Nails. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
They turned round and came back and got us and picked us up and took us to Chicago. In fact, no, they didn't take us to Chicago because the gig had to be cancelled for whatever reason. The gig had to be cancelled. So we went back. He drove us all the way back to New York. Believe it or not.
I believe it.
He drove us all the way back to New York, where the following day we got on the plane and came back to London.
I was going to ask you probably JFK you were going to, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was a story. And but you know, we were very lucky indeed, to be honest. Very, very lucky. And, you know, thank God, you know, I'm still here to tell the story, to be honest. So,
yeah, but all the viewers are going, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Nobody expected. They were kind of like at the wheel. They were dozing off, and then heard accident. Everybody went, "What?"
Yeah. So that was the Candyland. That's my Candyland story. And then the band carried on for a while. We still did gigs up and down England, up and down the UK. Everywhere. And it was great. The album did well. We did some great gigs.
Do you remember who was in that other band? The one that you were doing in America? Do you remember any of the players in the other band? Yeah, I know you don't remember the name of the band, but did you know anybody from the A band that you follow? You guys?
The name of the band was called. I think they pronounced it Die Warsaw or something like that. They were like they're like 9 Inch Nails. What's that music? What's that music called? I don't know.
Thrash or
No, they're like it's that. What it is?
Heavy metal.
It's like heavy metal, but with programmed beats.
Yes.
And triggered sounds, basically, and triggered sounds. So they trigger snare sounds, kick drum sounds. It's when there's like the Simmons and all that, Elise's drum kit and all that kind of stuff came out. They were using all the pads and sequences. The drummer was like, he was great. He would like hit the pad and it would just set off a sequence of events. You just go, whoa. And he'd be like, and then he'd start hitting the drums and it'll be just this mighty sound coming from the drums, all electronic though.
So basically more of an industrial sound.
Industrial, that's the type of music it is. It's very industrial.
Got it. Now I understand it.
Yeah.
We're triggering pads, playing drum, but the pads are sequenced.
Yeah.
Like give you that feeling, the rhythm. The rhythm is pushing.
Yeah. And he's using little triggers on the drums to trigger sounds and stuff like that. So yeah, but
I don't vision this from you. Like I don't vision you playing with Candyland being like industrial sounding.
Nor did we. But we were asked to support this band in America.
And how was it received when you did the openings and everything?
It was great. It was really good. Yeah, it was really good because it still had that dance element to it, you see, because we had sequences as well. So that was like my first experience of playing with technology, clicks, loops, triggering samples, all that kind of stuff. So that's, it was received really well because it wasn't as heavy as that industrial thing. It was more the dancier side of it. It was more the dance side of it. And that's what kept it cool. So you could go and see the package.
So we're enjoying the fact that we know you like to dance. So I'm assuming that even this is not really categorized dance, but it's giving you a place that you can still funk out, rock out and do your thing.
Exactly. Do you remember that band? I'll tell you who we were similar to. We were similar to, remember that track, Unbelievable?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, I remember.
Like that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff we're doing. Indie dance.
Well, let me tell you what they categorized that here in America. They used to call it dance-orientated rock, DOR.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
The dance rock sound.
Yeah, the dance-orientated rock sound. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what it is. And it was, it was really, really, I just really enjoyed my time with the band. I really enjoyed my time with the band. We just did the one album. We did the tour. It went well. And then, of course, the band disbanded.
Of course, like every band. So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
This is what I've been told about drummers in bands, rock bands. They always tell me that they got the worst ego. Is that true?
No.
You understand what I mean by that? Like the drummer feels, without me, there is no band.
It's a myth.
I've always heard that from guys with bands. They would tell me, the drummer's got an ego from here to Japan, dude, and it's all about him.
No. Well, maybe in some bands, I don't know, but I just think. I suppose it's just down to attitude, isn't it? Really. I mean, I play drums because I love music, and so
you're a music guy. I got that because I've heard your radio shows. We know that you're a muso.
Yeah,
you love music. I get it.
Yeah, that's me. I love music always. Do you know what I mean? So, and I just do. And we don't have.
But you know what I'm talking about. There's drummers out there that you just know they're air. They think who the hell they are.
Yeah.
You can't tell them nothing. Imagine you say, "Yo, dude, you're a little offbeat" or something. They'd be like, "What?"
Yeah. There are some drummers out there like that. And if anybody's going to get criticized first, it will be the drummer. I guarantee you. The drummer will always be the first to get criticized. The drummer will always be the first to be sacked.
Well, that's true, because in the band Chicago, I saw the story too. Yeah. Now, they all made that band together. One day they all got together and they voted him out.
Yeah, there you go.
Why? Because he couldn't do the timing tight enough with the changes like you were talking about with the industrial stuff. When his turns came around,
right,
he wrote those songs and they voted him out. So
it's outrageous, isn't it? It's
created the band.
Outrageous.
He created the band. It's not like he was born after. He was the band. Chicago was him and the guitar player and the other guy. You gotta go. Gotta go.
You can't keep time. You gotta go.
We voted you out. Imagine that.
That's just nuts. That sounds like band politics.
Yeah, because here's the deal. They wanted him to be so dead on like a metronome to the click track. Yeah. Couldn't do it. Yeah. Go take lessons. Came back. They tried him out. It still sounded good, but he wasn't tight enough for them.
Wow. Nuts. That's just nuts. Well, what can I say?
So Candyland ends.
I then go back to doing session work, doing bits and bobs, and then who do I join after that? I did join another band called, it was a pop band, Freaky Realistic. They were great.
I thought you were going to tell me something Fenzini or something. I was like, oh no.
There was a band called Freaky Realistic, but I was used as session. I was just a session for that.
You were a session guy.
Yeah, I was a session guy for that band. So I was just like, we've got a gig here, turn up, play, blah, blah, rehearsals, that kind of thing. So I was with them for a while. I don't know, maybe 6 months or something, not even a year. I think maybe 6 months, 8 months. Okay. They were just a pop band. The pop band was a Japanese girl in it, a rapper from Canada, and a singer-songwriter from Southeast London. And again, great band, great songs, really good, sounded fantastic. Again, band politics. And that went sideways royally. Do you know what I mean? So, you just go, what is going on? Why can't people just get on, make music? You're into this for music. Just do it. Just play music and enjoy it.
Right.
Rather than getting into the whole insults, this, that, da, 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 da. Do you know what I mean? But anyway.
People don't understand it, but they don't, unless you're in band life and session work, they don't know this all that goes on. Nobody knows this stuff.
I know.
They see you going like this. 1, 2, and boom. They don't know what went on, how many fights broke out before that got to the 1, 2, 3, 4. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Luckily before shows that never happened, but at times it got a little bit heated. Let's put it that way.
In a nice way of putting it, right?
Yeah, got a little bit heated. Yeah.
Discussions real serious to the point where people are going to be almost fired.
Well, it got physical.
Yeah, that's heated enough.
That's it, right? You're like, whoa, there's no need for that. You know what I mean?
I will kick your behind.
It was like,
what?
You're just like, oh my goodness. Anyway, they disbanded, consequently, right? And then after that, Lenny, I then joined a band called Urban Species. So now we're coming closer towards the whole...
That's okay. We're taking us on the Wikipedia trip. Come on now.
So I joined Urban Species, which was a rap outfit signed to Talking Loud. in the UK.
Charles Peterson, everyone talking loud. Norman J.
That's it.
Talking loud records.
Norman's my guy. Love Norman.
Norman J, who has been on this show and is a big supporter of True House Stories.
Love Norman. He's proper. Tell
us about that.
So joining, so I had to do an audition for Urban Species, and the bass player, a guy called Joss, he asked me, what am I doing? I said, not a lot, because I just stopped working with Freaky Realistic, so I'm just at home practicing. What you're doing is, guys, look, there's a couple of songs here. Learn these songs. We've got an audition, because the band are looking for a rhythm section, bass, drums, guitar. So Joss, who was the bass player, and then Yogan was a guitar player who I'd known from before, and then myself on drums. And I just stayed at home, learnt the songs. We went to a rehearsal, had a rehearsal, one rehearsal, learnt the songs, great. Turned up for the audition with the band, with the rap band, with Peter and the rest of the guys, and we got the job. They said, "You guys sound great, fantastic. We're going to do some gigs. There's some things planned, tours, but we'll keep you informed." And we just started doing some like UK shows. I think we started doing Europe. Did we do UK? Yeah, we did UK shows, like universities and things like that, because they were already signed, right? So they were already signed to. They had an agent, they had manager. In fact, their manager was the first manager of the original manager of Incognito. So it was the same company,
right?
Marshall Management or something. I can't remember. Anyway, they were good. They were actually all right. Found them lots of gigs up and down the country. You know, Leeds, Bradford, Birmingham, Manchester, Glasgow, London, Southampton, everywhere.
Wow, they're working from sea to shining sea.
yeah.
Much like sea. Yeah, from doing the ballrooms, doing the bars, you're doing everything.
Yeah, everything. They did it all, and then they managed to land themselves a university tour.
Yeah, it's another big part of it. You do the university is huge
for them. It was
student nights,
massive, and I mean they really, and that was great. And then that tour kind of led, because they were touring all the time, so it was great, and then from that university tour, so going from like the big tours, big unis like Birmingham, Coventry, Glasgow, Bournemouth, really big unis, London, universities in London. They ended up doing a European tour. From that, it just moved on to a European tour and ended up doing Europe for like however long.
Wow.
4 weeks or something. 4 weeks in Europe, traveling around in a splitter van and doing these shows. So there was like myself, Joss, Yogan, Cesare was doing BVs. Then there was Peter on main rapper. There was I can't remember everybody. Anyway, there's about 8 of us all together, and they even had a dancer, what they called a vibes man, and all he would do was dance and get the vibes and get the crowd up and hyped up and everything. He was great. He was really cool. Slim, they called him. Oh gosh, is it Slimfoot or something like that? But he was great. He was a great dancer. But yeah, really good times. Really had great times with them actually, and just, do you know what? That was actually one of the that was my first time in actually doing programming for a tour. So like programming all the electronics. So having a sampler with putting samples into a sequencer and doing all that kind of stuff, and then when they wanted tracks to like join on together, you'd have to do all the time changes and all that kind of stuff. And I'd never done it before. So I had to sit down. You're good with equipment, right? You're good with equipment. So do you remember the Roland MC50 sequence?
Oh, sure I do. Little microcomposer.
Yeah.
I remember it now. When she said microcomposer, it's this big. A lot of drummers use that because it's on a little stand, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So we used a Roland MC50, and you didn't have no, and together with a sampler, like a Akai, or I don't know, it would be a S1000 or something like that, and we just and I just programmed the whole show. Looking in the manual, I'll be like, in the manual, look at so how do you go from one song to another, do the time changes and everything? It was all that kind of stuff. And I did it in about, I don't know, 2 weeks, did the whole show from song 1 to the end. It was great. I was really proud of myself.
Did you ever have a problem with the sequencer live where you had to reset or something happened?
That sequencer, no, because that sequencer was really robust, extremely robust.
That's really a horrible moment to have where it's just, you don't have the thing locked.
Honestly, it's the worst thing ever. Worst thing. And because it's rap music, so there was a lot of loops involved.
Right.
And they wanted the loops from the record, and then I'll be playing live on top of the loop.
That's what makes it sound like the tracks that people can actually, because no matter how good you are, it never sounds like Impeach the President.
Exactly.
The loop of Impeach the President.
Yeah, it's got that sound and everything. So they want that
70s brash sound, and they want that sound to be part of their night in the experience.
Exactly. So I ended up just getting all the samples from the album, took what we needed as opposed to just taking everything and then just sequencing it and then just, sequencing it out and everything. It was great. It's cool. Worked really well. Program changes, whatever was needed.
Man.
I was like, just working it out, man.
It's like, he's got it, baby. He's got it.
Great, Derrick. Derrick,
you're a star, man. You're a star.
No, it was good. That was a really good experience, and it kind of brought me more into that kind of technical world of drama.
These guys were British hip hop, right?
Yeah, British hip hop.
It was not like the American gangsters in the sense.
Oh my gosh, no, they were like what we call acid jazz. They're like from that acid jazz.
No, let me get everybody what I mean by American gangsters. So Parliament, the band, George Clinton.
Yeah.
George Clinton had 2 buses. The Parliament bus and then the X's bus.
Oops.
That's what I'm talking about. So this band had 2 buses.
Wow.
Let me say it one more time. The bus with the current
and the bus
and the X's. That's some gangster.
That's proper. Keep them
proper funk. One nation under a groove. There was no one nation with this. 2 nations, 2 buses.
2 nations, 2 buses.
Look it up, everybody. George Clinton's no joke.
That's nuts. That is absolute nuts.
That's why I was asking you, is it going to be like, like Tupac? Is it going to be like, with the gangs, LA, LA Raiders jackets, New York, it's like, it got kind of fresh
like
up
that.
in the roof.
Did it get like that? No, it was nothing like
clean
that.
Clean cut, Midtown type tracks. Midtown.
No violence, no nothing like that. No, it was actually, it's really good. And their stuff was, the lyrics were great. The music was fantastic. The vibe in the band was brilliant. And consequently, I'd been with them because they used to listen to hip hop all the time. I mean, like 24/7. It'll be Far Side, Tribe Called Quest. Who's the other guy? Oh God! Anybody rap? Nas.
Public Enemy.
Just they'd listen to it all the time, and I'd be like, "Can we just play something else?"
Yes.
And I'm literally like this, and the Pascal like, "Can we just play something else?" No, man. You know what? This is really good, man. We're going to play this. I'm like, "All right, cool." Do you know what I mean? It's fine.
Anything, please, anything.
But I never got. To be honest, I never got sick of it. I just kind of just dealt with it. But it opened up my eyes to rap music and beats and stuff like that, and playing those beats live and all that. So it was good. I really enjoyed my time. Whilst with that band, what happened I went to a barbecue. We had a break, went to a barbecue, and I happened to meet a guy called Simon Law. Do you know Simon Law?
I know the name.
Producer for Soul to Soul.
Yes.
All the early stuff. Keep on moving, don't stop. Back to life. All that kind of stuff. He produced like the beats and did all that kind of stuff together with Jazzy and all those guys.
Was that when my friend Rose was with the band, Rose Windross? Norris's sister.
No. She came in after.
Came in after, okay.
She came in afterwards, yeah.
She's a great singer too.
Yeah, she's an amazing singer.
Well, amazing. Rose Windross, you out there tune in, girl.
Yeah, we love Rose. We love Rose. She did a thing with Stevie Taylor, right?
Yes.
With Stevie Taylor, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So I met Simon. I said to Simon, look, if you get any sessions, because I knew he was the producer for Soul to Soul, so I thought this could be a way for me to get in on that kind of scene. I said, there's my number. Give us a shout.
Let me know.
Please,
keep me in mind.
I gave him the number. So I've given him the number. That was on the Sunday at the barbecue. And on Wednesday, I get a phone call from a guy at EMI Music. And he says, I got your number from Simon Law, and he says that, you know, you're a good drummer, and we'd like you to audition for a band. I'm like, okay, cool, right, yeah. What's the name of the band? And he says, Jamiroquai. And I went, I've never heard of them, because I actually hadn't heard of them. So they'd had this one album out, but I didn't know. All I saw was the Buffalo Man, but I didn't know who it was, what it was all about, or anything. And he said, yeah, look, come and audition for the band. You know, I'll give Kevin your number. Kevin's the manager at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go along to the auditions. So I'm now starting to rehearse with Urban Species for another tour. And I get the call to do the audition for Jamiroquai. So at the end, I've had to say to Kevin, look, Kevin called me. He goes, when can you come? I went, oh, whenever. He goes, can you come on Wednesday? I went, yeah, but I am rehearsing with another band. I could come afterwards though. So I did the rehearsal with the band that day, and then went off to, and then went to this audition. I learned the song, and luckily, the week before, I'd been given the album by a friend of mine who said, listen to this music, it's really cool. And so I listened to it, you know, When You're Going to Learn, Emergency on Planet Earth, all those kind, you know, the hits, basically. I just listened to it and thought, oh yeah, I see where this is going. I really, you know, I like the vibe, but but there's something that doesn't quite sound right. And I'm in my car, like thinking this is prior to the audition. So I'm now listening to this stuff on the way to the audition, and the guy, and I get into the audition. All right, I meet Toby, Stuart, and Wallace. That's who was there at the time. Anyway, so we're jamming out, playing. We've done all the tracks: Emergency, When You're Going to Learn, Too Young to Die, and whatever other ones there were. The Kids, I think might have been the Kids or something like that we played. And whilst we're playing, this guy's come in and stood at the back of the room, and we're like just playing along, jamming away, and I'm really enjoying myself, getting into the vibe. A guy comes up to me, he goes, hello mate, you all right? I went, yeah. He goes, oh, I'm Jay. I went, oh, nice to meet you, but not knowing he was the singer. So I've just now met the guy that's singing on all these tracks, and I actually didn't know it was him. That was weird. Can
I break in and say something to you?
Yeah.
And please, everybody, don't cane me with your sticks. But before I knew this was even a man, I thought it was a woman singing.
I'm going to cane you.
Not in a bad way, because the register was so high.
It's so high, that's right.
I never saw it, because I was getting the 12 inches, and I only heard Emergency on Planet Earth. What you got? Yeah. And it was all up in that female register. And I know when he speaks, he's way deeper.
It's way down. That's right.
His register's so high.
Yeah, I know. And so I couldn't quite. it didn't click because I didn't know the name of the singer. I just knew there was a Buffalo man that sang these tracks and didn't know, and there was someone that sang the tracks. Of course, it was him. I didn't know.
That's how stupid people are. The siege happened in Washington. The guy's wearing a buffalo, and they're saying, "There's Jay from Jamiroquai." How stupid that was! I couldn't believe it.
Nuts. That's just nuts.
I said, "That's not him. That's not him." And that would have been him 25 years ago. He wouldn't look like that now.
Some people, man, they're just out off their minds. Do you know what I mean? Off their minds. So anyway, we kept on rehearsing, and I must have done that audition. I was in that audition. Literally, we did. I must have been there for about 2 to 2.5 hours.
Well, what they have you do? Well, you say audition. Did you have to learn the songs to just get up and jump and play them, or did they want you to freestyle along with them? What was the deal with that?
So, when I first got into the audition, what I did was I played the tracks that they asked me to play, which are basically the hits. Do you know what I mean? So I played the hits, but of course, I played them in the way as they were on the record. But of course, my touch is different to the previous drummer. I play heavier. I play harder. Do you know what I mean? So I've got more of a solid beat behind what is going on. So, respect to Nick, the previous drummer before me.
What was his surname?
Nick Van Gelder, who's he's a great drummer. He's a very good drummer.
Why did they replace him? You ever find out?
I don't know, to be honest.
Because that's a tough thing to do when you have a winning formula. Not to say that you can't bring it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the full story. I just know that the drummer wasn't there anymore, and I got asked to come along to do that. And that's as far as I know. So I've just come in and just done the audition, and I did like 2 hours.
Could you imagine like Eddie Van Halen's band has David Lee Roth as that singer, and now he's fired, and they bring in Sammy Hagar, who doesn't sound, and he's great too. He's great.
Yeah.
But people were so pissed off with Van Halen because they wanted that sound.
Yeah, that's his sound, right? That's his thing.
Van Halen to me is David Lee Roth. It's David not Sammy Hagar.
Yeah.
Yes, but we all said, okay, bring in Sammy did great, and which is out your position. So Nick leaves, he's out, and you're now brought in.
I'm now brought in, doing these auditions, 2.5 hours one day, then I have to come back the next day and basically play again. And this time I'm playing for like 3 hours.
This is serious now. Now this is serious, right?
It's serious because now what we're doing is jamming. Now we're jamming out.
I want to see how you can flow, basically. Flow is, right?
So Jay's in there now because now Jay's singing and doing his thing, which is great. And funnily, and the shock, the shock to me was like, okay, we're going to do, I don't know, Too Young to Die. So of course I start playing. He picks up the mic, starts singing it, and I'm going, oh my gosh, that's the voice on the record. So up until then, I didn't know.
Yes, you're trying to be cool about it, right? You're just trying to stay cool. You're still
I'm saying cool.
Locking in.
I'm going, oh my God. That's the song.
Okay.
Oh, that's the voice. Oh, okay.
That's the song. Oh.
That's the song. Oh, right, okay.
Yes.
The penny drops, it all comes together. Great time doing that. And then we start to move on to other stuff. And now I'm getting into the way that Jay works, kind of getting to know this is a very start of like, I'm going to say a working relationship, because we started doing just these ideas, just started coming out, different ideas, different tempos, different beats, different grooves, chords, everything, but it was really, really enjoyable. Do you know what I mean? I'd never had so much fun at an audition because it was that whole freestyling thing. Such an experience, such a really good, and to play with such great musicians. And and the good thing is that we're all we all listen to the same type of music. So we're all into that, the disco funk, the jazz funk thing, similar artists. So we could all play in the same sort of vein. We're all on the same page. Does that make sense? I suppose that does make sense, right?
100%. I totally get it. You're gelling. You're becoming a one unit, not separate.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what, if I was listening to you as a band member and knowing that I'm in the band playing and you're taking Nick's spot, I would want you to be like he never left.
Yeah.
Not a square and a round circle, everybody. We want him to be part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then admittedly, when I did the audition, all I did was just hold the groove. Of course, I experimented a bit. I didn't go over the top. I just played the groove. I just grooved out, and we all just gelled together really well. You know, Stuart, Toby.
And I could tell, like, your manner is so relaxed. You didn't come in there with, apprehension. You're like super cool. And that's another thing. Are you going to fit into our vibe? That's what they're thinking. They had that discussion. You be sure of it. I would.
I'm sure they did.
Is he uptight? Is he going to be cool with us?
Yeah,
is he going to be able to deal? They're thinking all that stuff because a band is a family.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody understands that, people. That's a family thing.
It's a family thing. But I wasn't coming in my mind, though. I wasn't thinking. I was just thinking I'm going to do some sessions with them. Do you see what I mean? That was my whole thing. My whole thing was like, okay, I'm going to go in and do a couple of sessions, and then I'd be going back to doing the Urban Species tour thing, So I did the second audition, and we started working on tracks. And one of the tracks we worked on was the first track you hear on the second album, which is called Just Another Story. And that first track was written in the audition that I did, which is just like nuts.
So let me ask the next question. Now, you're not only becoming a drummer with this band, now you're writing.
Yeah, just my part.
Yeah, but you're still writing.
Yeah. Essentially, I'm writing with the band. Yeah,
you're writing with the band now.
Yeah.
So this is a different ball game, and
now we're going to something different. Now, that's right.
Right, you're not just being the session guy no more. Now you're becoming part of the team in a different way.
And it was after that audition that the manager rang me and said, "You got the job." So consequently, I'm like, "Oh, okay. Now I'm going to have to kind of tell Urban Species now that I've got another job."
So how did that go?
They were right. They were cool because I actually found someone to replace me who was into the same vibe that I was, and that could play the stuff and do all the beats, understood the electronics. So they were happy. They were cool. They were like, all right, and they were fine. They were fine with it, And then and when I left, I then went to start recording Space Cowboy with the album with Jamiroquai. So that was my kind of entry. That's my entry story into joining Jamiroquai, so to speak. That's my.
Well, it's a good story, though. I mean, he had a long road to get to Jamiroquai.
Yeah, very long road. Nice, great experiences. Up and downs. Mainly up, though. I have to admit, mainly up. And here I am today talking with you, Lenny.
It's crazy.
I'm here. I am talking with you about my whole story and telling the people and just sharing my story with you. So I've got to say a big thank you to you, Lenny, for asking me to be on here, because it's I really appreciate it. I've never done this before. So
you have now. You're no more a virgin. You are now a veteran. So now let's go on here a little bit, because we're getting there to the your DJing, of course, and stuff.
Yes.
The second album you start touring the world. How did life change for you now?
Okay, so now I'm in a band. Now I don't know what to expect, because I actually don't know what to expect, to be honest. So there's a big.
Did you ask questions? Did you say anything? What's the job entail?
I'm just like getting fed this information from the manager. He says, right, this is what we're doing, because I'd never done this whole kind of big, massive tour thing, you know, big rehearsals, you know, like big rehearsal rooms, tour buses, tour buses now. This is tour buses. We're not talking
People,
splitter vans.
no more bubble and squeak. He's having caviar and champagne.
We're on tour buses with beds and all the lounges and all that kind of stuff. Just
He's on Gloria Estefan level. He's with J-Lo.
J-Lo. These are like proper like double-decker tour buses. Great, you know. So, you know, and we're doing the rehearsals. There's, you know, there's horns, there's, you know, guitar, keyboard, everything, you know, and I've never done this size of rehearsal or anything before, and it's just a big thing for me, just a big thing. And when I joined Jamiroquai, nobody had heard of me. Nobody. Everybody was going, well, who's that? So, well, if you did your underground working, you would have seen that I'd worked with Urban Species, who were big on that Talking Loud scene, you know. And I did a couple of recordings with them and stuff, but still nobody heard of me. But I just thought, all right, that's cool. No worries. But, you know, I just worked with them. We toured, we recorded the album, recorded Space Cowboy, which was great. Love recording that. That was such an amazing experience. Love that. And did all those tracks that are on there, Manifest Destiny, Light Years, all those tracks, you know, we did in the studio in Kentish Town, in Battersea and Kentish Town. And a really good experience, you know, with a great engineer. And we toured, and the tour was just like phenomenal. It was my first time of going to Japan. That was my first tour, going to Japan as well. For, you know, long haul flight, like my first long haul flights and stuff, you know, filling out the visa forms, all that kind of stuff, you know.
Your life changed. You completely
changed.
From the neighborhood guy to I'm now Mr. International.
I don't know about international, but yeah.
Had James Bond to you, baby. Come on, live it, man.
I just love, but yeah.
And think about this: you're not driving the SUV anymore,
and I'm not driving the SUV. I'm not going to be asked to drive.
You don't gotta wait. You gotta
have a driver.
You gotta tune up. You gotta set your own kit up, and you gotta drive to the next destination.
Now I had a drum tech. I actually had a drum tech and everything.
Did you make Drummer magazine? Did you ever make it to the, you know, those big mags?
I made it to. I never made Modern Drummer. I made it to Rhythm magazine, which is great, and then I've made it to Drum in Japan. Got front cover on that.
That's nice. That's a good feeling, right?
Yeah, got front cover on Rhythm magazine, which is based in the UK, but goes out worldwide. And then I got a few, and then I got percussion, some sort of drums percussion magazine in France as well. Got interviewed there, you know. So I got, you know, it was, the profile was rising slowly. Basically, it was rising slowly.
The adage that we heard before is "Who is he?" is no longer "Who is he?" It's What is he doing now?
What is he doing now? What I was doing was just being with Jamiroquai and just dedicating my life to that, which is great, and I love it. Love being in a band. It's fabulous, really, honestly.
Up until pandemic, are you still part of the band? No, I'm just talking about pandemic has paused everybody, but
yeah, absolutely. I spoke to Jay yesterday. I was speaking to Jay just.
Is Jay preparing to go back out? Is that the thought? Is he thinking about it?
We're preparing to, well, most probably start a new album eventually, very soon. I would have thought, very, very soon. Yeah, because we have to start at some point. We can't let this pandemic hold us down. Do you know what I mean? You know, we're not that kind of a band. You know, we are like, we need to work. We need to.
Everybody needs to work.
You know what I mean? We need to do what we love, because what we love is playing music.
Well, you're an entertainer. I mean, you guys are entertainers. If you're not entertaining, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. And there's only so long you could stay off the scene for, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? You know, there's only you could stay off the scene for. So, you know, I do that, and hopefully we'll start that soon. But in the meantime, in the pandemic, you know, I've been doing the DJ thing.
Yes, we all know. Everybody want to let you all know that he's been playing since yonder, a long, long time. When he played vinyl records before he played digital tracks.
Yes, I was playing sound system with Leroy and Steve. I did the odd little appearance. They were the main guys. I just kind of just followed them about and did the odd, spun the little vinyl now and again. But to be honest, my real DJ life took off. We didn't even take off. Got started. That's more. When I was in Japan doing the Traveling Without Moving tour, basically, and I used to play at after show parties. I'd find a bar to go and play my CDs and mix CDs in and stuff, and just entertain the troops afterwards.
So let me ask you a DJ question.
Yeah.
Did you find it easier for you to beat mix because you had drumming experience with blending the records?
Yes. I'm going to say yes to that. But anybody with rhythm could be a DJ, to be honest.
Well, it takes time to understand how to lock up your beats to get things to sound seamless with the change. So that's what I was asking.
So, I found it, easy. I found it easy because in my head, of course, I'd heard other people do it, but also I heard I could play in my mind, I could play two records at once. Do you know what I mean? And listen to the beats and hear how they match together, which is great, you know. So I do that, you know. But because I wasn't really into it that much, and obviously I didn't do it that often, I played I'd play selections. So I'd say this track will sound good after this track, but it wouldn't be a beat matching. It would just sound good after that track. Do you see what I mean? You know, but still everybody would be dancing and having a really good time. So as long as it worked, I was happy. And my first ever gig was at a small bar in Japan, believe it or not.
How small?
A small bar in Japan.
How small?
Oh, how small?
5 people?
No, I reckon it was a very, you know, Japan's right? It's only small, right? But maybe 150 people tops.
Okay, so it's an intimate affair, basically.
Yeah. So we'd done a gig in Tokyo. I think we were in Tokyo, and we played at, I don't know if it was the Budokan or one of the bigger gigs. It was one of the bigger gigs. Might have been Osaka. No, we were in Tokyo. We played this gig. It must have been about 7,000 people there. And I'd said to Jay before the gig, I'm going to be playing at this bar afterwards. Come down, you know, and we can have like drinks and stuff and have a good time. The bar manager said, because I was down there the night before, he went, oh, great, cool, great stuff. So we do the gig. As we come off the stage, Jay announces that we're going to be down at this bar.
So everybody, right after, my drummer Derrick is going to be spinning tunes for everybody at this bar in Nagasaki.
I'm just going, oh my God, the place
You just killed it now. We're going to have a ramrod tonight. It's going to be ridiculous. Be back.
The place. And we've turned up at this club, this bar rather, and the queue is so long. It was absolutely.
What time is your coming on?
It was.
You could just hear them saying it. What time is coming time?
No, they can't say that. Not that at all. It was just like they were just waiting.
Yeah, waiting for something big to happen now.
You know, and they were just there, and then came in and just started playing, man, and it was just whoa! It was great. That was my first experience as DJing behind, you know, decks and doing my own gig, so to speak. Yeah, that was very interesting. That was good. And consequently, you know, I just, wherever else I could play, I just played. You know?
And then you were just fishing out and working it out. And like everybody does, they find their way behind the decks.
Yeah. Exactly.
It is
But it wasn't consistent. It was just like now and again.
So now that you're the illustrious drummer, top shelf guy, now that's doing the sort of the kind of next part of his journey, which is the DJing. Where does the presenting begin for you? This radio presenting stuff.
The radio presenting started, came to me when I was at ADE. I think it was the first year I met you. In fact, it was the first time I met you.
That's right. I met you at the party I played at.
Right,
yeah,
at the Victoria Hotel in Amsterdam, right? And
correct.
And it was there that I met Brian Power, who's one of the main guys at my house, my soul radio. And I just met him at the bar. Actually didn't know who he was. Again, you know, when you meet people, you don't know who they are. All right, mate, how's it going? Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, all right. What's your name? Derrick. What's your name? Brian. Oh, cool. What do you do? I'm a drummer. You know, all that exchanging banter, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, so you play professionally or not?
Yeah, it's all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they don't know you play with Jamiroquai. You tickle with it. You're like, yeah, and you're playing along. I get it.
I kind of ran along. Didn't reveal that bit. And then I revealed that bit. And then he said to me, oh, do you fancy coming on and doing a radio show? I'm like, ooh.
Absolutely no way.
Exactly. That was my reaction. I'm like,
I said because you're not thinking on that level.
What? Oh my God! What radio show? You're off your mind. It's nuts. I'd never do that. So he said, "You'll be fine. Honestly, you'll be fine. You'll be great. Honestly, you'll be good." So he took my number. We came back to the UK. He sent me a couple of messages. Didn't hear from him for about a year, and then Steve Taylor, who you know, right? Steve Taylor then invites me as a guest on his show on My House Radio, and says, come and do a 30-minute mix. So Steve was the one that brought me in to my house. And then from there...
Now, that ain't a true house story, right?
It's a true house story. So, you know, thanks to Stevie Taylor, he was the one that introduced me to that whole kind of radio kind of atmosphere scenario, you know. And Steve's really good at it. He's fantastic. And so he said, yeah, it's great. Went down really well. Everything was fine. Another year, I don't do nothing for ages, for about another year. And then AD didn't take place last year. But the year before, I then bumped into Brian again. And Brian then heard me spinning at the Hoxton in Amsterdam. He heard me spinning at Hoxton, playing Soulful House.
Okay.
And I played directly after him. And he just came up to me and he said, my goodness, really love what you play. Love the way you play. Do you fancy coming on the radio show? I'm like, yeah, all right then. If you've got a space, I'll do it, you know. So he said, yeah, all right, no worries. I'll get in contact. Didn't hear from him until last year, February. He says, oh, Roy Marsh is going to get in contact with you. But I didn't know that Roy. Now, Roy Marsh, I've known since I joined Jamiroquai. But I didn't know that he worked at my house. And Roy rang me up, and I thought Roy was ringing up for, I don't know, whatever, just to chat, say hello. And he goes, oh, Derrick, I work at My House Radio. Do you fancy coming and doing a spin? You fancy doing a radio show weekly? I'm like, I haven't even done one yet. He goes, you'll be fine. Don't worry. You'll be all right. You'll be fine. You'll be good. I went, oh, all right then, go on then. Let me go. When do you want me to play? He goes, oh, we play next week. Okay, all right, fine. I'll do that. So remember, My House is just starting up. It's just starting up in like kind of last year, January, February time. He then calls me up like literally the next day after he's called me. He then goes, Derrick, have you got anything that I can use, like a 2-hour set? He just rings me up and just says, have you got a 2-hour set? I went, oh yeah. I went, no, I haven't done anything. I said, I've got like a tech house and like a jacking house set that I could spin, that I could like send you. He goes, yeah, send it, fine. So I emailed it to him and he played it and he said it was really good. Went down well, people were listening to it and stuff. And he said, right, as of next week, you're doing a regular show. And that was February of last year. And I've been doing, and I started off doing, and I still am doing, every Wednesday, I was doing Wednesdays 3 till 5 every Wednesday and compiling the shows. And then, of course, you know, the pandemic hit, so then everything shut down. So I've just been doing everything from home on this glorious mic.
Remote, right? Remote working. Hey, that's where everybody's working right now.
Yeah. And it's working. And it's, you know, and you know what? You know, I have to give thanks to obviously to God, you know what I mean, for bringing me down this path, you know, I mean, a really good path, and keeping my mind sane, calm and peaceful. But I also got to give thanks to, you know, like Brian Power, Roy Marsh, Stevie Taylor, Richard Earnshaw. Do you know what I mean? These guys were the guys that kind of boosted me or encouraged me to do the radio thing, to do more of the production, to do more of that, the DJ thing, you know. And with iCulture, you know, Steve and Richard set me up with gigs to play with them as well, you know, doing a residency in London, which was great, which I had lots and lots of fun with. Here we go. Oh. Somebody wants my T-shirt, Lenny.
I just hit that disconnect so fast, couldn't hit the button.
That is the most I've ever heard your phone go in any interview, Lenny. I'm not going to lie.
I don't know why. It shouldn't even be going off.
Is it me, or is it inauguration?
It's the inauguration.
Or is it that
I'm
T-shirt?
so happy to call me.
Or somebody saying, get him off.
No, they don't know I'm on. Some people don't know I'm on live right now. So It is what it is. We got to deal with it. Sorry, this is what we call home box office TV.
Home box office, self-management.
I don't have a control studio. Stop it. I'm the control. I'm everything. I got the gears. You know.
Excellent.
You know, you're working on you know. There's a thing called, you know, there's a virus I have. It's called. It's an Italian virus. It's called Funzalo. When you don't have money to work with, this is how you work. Get through everything. Funzalo. The only way to fix it is get a job. So you've been working with the Rode mic, which I'm so happy he connected today for us.
Yeah, I connected this just for your interview.
And it sounds like it's on the radio right from my house. Right.
Great. My House Radio. We love My House Radio.
Yeah, you guys are a big sponsor, supporter, and everything. You play all our music. I can't thank you all enough.
Thank you, man. No, thank you for asking me on here.
I got news for you. I think you covered a lot for us today.
Well, it's not. Have you got another? How long we got?
Remember, you worried about filming 2 hours? And that's why I'm at the point now where I have to say one last question.
Tell me. Ask me. Ask away.
When pandemic is over, what's the plan?
Pandemic is over. What's the plan? At the minute, I'm working on some tracks here at home. And fingers crossed, get together with the band and start doing some bits. Get that rolling. Definitely DJs, do the guest mix stuff. And I'm just into writing and production at the minute. So beautiful. So I'm really enjoying it as well. You know, I'm working with, I've worked with, because I've had a couple of releases last year with Lorraine McIntosh. I did that Latino track, Afrotino, and I did the track with Joy Rose, Love Yourself, which went really well, and that was out on Groove Culture. So and those guys have been amazing. They've been really good.
Good guys. Yeah, that's the Italian guys. Very good guys.
Really, really good. Really, really good. You know,
Michele and his partner.
Michele and Andrea Tanici, I think is his name, who is an amazing engineer, mixer and masterer, by the way. He's fabulous. All the stuff you hear, that's him. It's great. Really good. So I'm just going to be doing that, and working more with Joy, working more with Lorraine, and a couple of other people. I'm working with Jay Criv. You know Jay Criv, right?
Yes, from Brooklyn.
Yeah. So I'm doing a track.
He's been on here too. He's done a great interview for us. Very good.
We love Jay, man. He's a great musician.
The cat.
Fabulous musician, and the stuff he does with with Adeline and Studio 54 and all that. Just whoa, just
very earthy sounding. Very
man. Love that.
You know, somebody asked me a question for you. How do you feel about you being a drummer? Sampled sounds and sampled drum beats opposed to having a live drummer on a track on these recordings. How do you feel about that?
What about having programs?
Yeah, in other words, that, you know, you could do this, you know, for someone or someone using a loop. Do you feel a bit slighted, you know?
No. Do you know what? I think it all depends on the producer or the writer or what vibe they want. Do you know what I mean? You know, I use loops, to be honest with you. You know, I use loops sometimes, but I only use loops to get the vibe up of the track. Just that's it. I don't feel bad about it or anything. In fact, what I do is I use it to my advantage. So if somebody says to me, Derrick, we've got this track, there's a loop, this is what you got to play, I'd play along to the loop. Then I'd say to them, look, I'll tell you what, let me suggest something. Why don't you cut the loop up and use elements of it against what I'm playing? Then that way they've still got, do you know what I mean? You know, of course. I work with them.
Artistic. You're doing it more for an artistic.
Yeah,
and
it's an artistic thing. Yeah. And you know, I don't have a problem with samples and stuff like that. But I tell you one thing I do have a problem with is how everyone's doing edits. What is it with people doing edits? So they take a song and they call it an edit, but all they've put on it is a kick drum and a tambourine, and then they call it either a remix or an edit. And I'm like, no, it's not. You've blatantly taken the track and just added a kick drum and a tambourine, and then they're putting their name to it. I don't get that.
It's a quick flash in the pan to get themselves known.
Maybe. Anyway, there's a lot of it being done.
Not just recently, for a long time.
Like
you'll hear a whole Earth, Wind and Fire song with
the song in it, with the full song, the bass, the drums, everything, with the kick drum and a hi-hat on the top. You know, all right, it takes a little bit of effort to write an original song, but it's always worth it in the end when you come up with your own material. Or use a song to influence you. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Use it to influence you.
No. These guys.
Then you could take it out, and then just carry on the vibe. You know, listen, I'm known for that. You know, I listen to a track, I get inspired by that track, but I don't copy the track. I just use it as an inspiration for a vibe.
Yeah, but you're a musician. A lot of guys doing this in that musician based. These are guys that are just looking for a quick. I mean, I want to put them down because it is an artistic way of looking at it. So what's happening is they're taking a track that's pretty much done.
Yeah.
And they're just hyping it up with a low kick and giving it a fresh top high end.
Yeah.
But ask them to make that record, they couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? You know, admittedly, though, some of it is good.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit tougher. It gives a chance for a record like that to come back out and make some noise again.
Yeah,
There is some positives.
It is great. It's really good to hear those old school tracks. What would really be good is if they'd sometimes credit the people who did the original tracks.
Absolutely not.
It's just like, why don't you credit the person that actually did the original track? Do you know what I mean? You know, credit.
No, but it's the problem.
You know what I mean?
Let me explain to everyone why they're not crediting the track. Because then you have to clear it.
Of course you do.
You cannot get clearances on these records. These are records that major labels own. Most of the time, it'd be like Jay's record, like for example, like Space Cowboy.
Yeah.
Re-editing the David Morales remix, right? Okay. Yeah. And all of a sudden, it's not called Jamiroquai. Now it's called Tommy Quai.
Yeah.
Dirty Cowboy, right?
Yeah. Or something. Yeah.
Right?
Something,
or a Happy Cowboy, right? And then all of a sudden, the thick and thin mix in parentheses, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you hear it, you go, wait a minute.
But that's
David Morales, Jamiroquai, record I wrote. Whoa. That's Jay singing on it.
Yeah.
And how do you think he's going to feel if that was the case?
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? You know.
Now it's going to be like called an injunction now.
Yeah. Then it all starts getting.
So you imagine if you name Jamiroquai Space Cowboy, you have unauthorized permission.
Yeah.
No permission to put it out. You put it out. Copyright infringement. This is what's going on.
What's going on? Yeah. Oh, well, hopefully, you know, we'll start to hear some more original tracks, you know, but also in the same breath I can actually say, and I'm holding my hands up for this, I play some of those tracks that have been rehashed, so to speak, you know, with the kick drums and the hi-hats and whatever, and the re-edits, chopping them up. And some of them sound brilliant.
I bet they do. But that's the price you pay, though, when you play around with the major stuff that's already published.
Yeah.
You know, it's someone's work. It's like anything. They should be properly credited and properly paid, but it's just the way the game is.
Right. That's right. But, you know, we'll see what happens. You know, I think eventually it will come around to people just start making original music again. I really do believe that, you know. Especially, you know, I mean, DJs have a different way of looking at doing music. So they should use that to create this original stuff, because there's so many talented DJs out there. There's so many.
Yeah, but it's very expensive now to get musicians in and
you can do it all in a box. You can do it all in your laptop.
Well, if you know how to do it, sure. But a lot of people don't know how to do that stuff.
Okay. Well, if we can work Ableton or Logic.
Well, but you got to also be able to do the whole thing in the box. You got to have keyboard skills, a musical background.
Yeah.
You know, dragging and dropping loops is one thing, but when you're talking about actually playing a Rhodes part, and doing a change for a bridge, a chorus, verse, you got to know kind of some sort of musical training, something to be able to play it, or get a really good keyboard player.
Really good. Yeah. That is the other side of it. Yeah.
And that's it. You know, I have to thank you. You've been absolutely refreshing.
Thank you, Lenny.
Giving us an education from a musician standpoint.
No worries, man.
Your trip was absolutely funky and amazing.
I try. I just want to thank you, Lenny, and Karen.
Karen's amazing. I know she's
fantastic. She's just set all this up. She's really, really good. Thanks for having me. You've made me feel very comfortable. And, you know, I can't believe that 2 hours has gone by.
You still got another hour to tell us.
Oh, yeah.
But it's already getting late. It's 9:15 in the UK. People are tired. They're done. You can't keep them forever. I want to let everybody know that next week we got, you know, we talk about the Jamiroquai story. Well, we got the remixer to the big hit of Space Cowboy, King of House Music. David. That would be David Morales.
Nice. Tell him I said
New York City, King of House, legendary DJ, one of the greatest remixers of our generation.
Fantastic.
He's a great guy. It's just so funny. We're talking about the Jamiroquai story and I'm hearing Space Cowboy, and I can just hear that his mix was one of those records that
it's a great mix, by the way. It's a fantastic mix. I love it. I just, you know, a big thank you to, you know, yourself, Karen, everyone that, you know, supports me as a DJ, me as a musician, you know, all my family, all the fans. Oh my goodness, I would not be here without you guys. So thank you very, very much. You guys are great. I
know. Absolutely. And you know what? I say it every week. Without them, there's no us. Brother.
Really? Absolutely.
There is no us. And I want to thank one more time. Remember, this Saturday, tune in for Sal Carmona presents Hippie Torales and Ray Vasquez. This Saturday, January 23rd at 2 o'clock on 8. That's New York time, 8 o'clock Italy time, 7 o'clock UK time on hmconair.com. /The Banger Podcast. That's Hippie Torales and Ray Vasquez. That's a New Jersey, Brooklyn affair coming live at you right on the Banger Podcast.
Yep.
And that wraps it for me. And I killed this man, and thank you so much. Check us out on podcast. Follow us on YouTube. Stay tuned. We got a lot more coming at you. And once, thank you, my brother. Have a good night.
Thanks, man. Take care. See you later.
Thank you, brother.